It's later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live on Instagram, we're live on YouTube, and we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And I don't know, but I guess the word is out. I don't know who officially said it, but it seems like the Memorial Day weekend has already begun. Judging by the traffic on the way in today, the Memorial Day weekend has already begun. People are not going to work. They're clearly on the road driving out to Las Vegas or Bakersfield or driving up north to the Bay Area. They're driving somewhere. And it seems like everyone is driving somewhere at the same time. You might have heard Mark Ronner during the news break before the show talk about it might be a record weekend coming up where some 3.6 million residents, in other words, people already here in California, not talking about the people maybe coming from out of state into Southern California, but 3.6 million residents are anticipated to travel 50 miles or more this weekend, which translates to a nearly 4% increase from last year. And I'm thinking, where are you driving to? Is this a big weekend for Las Vegas? Maybe it is, but I don't think that I would want to go to Vegas for Memorial Day weekend. It's just too damn hot between now and like maybe August. I'm thinking, where is everyone driving? I don't know, but they were on the road today. I saw at least 3 or 4 runners. No exaggeration.
No, already?
Yeah, and one was actually directed at me. I had to go downtown.
Well, you must have brought it on yourself.
I must have, but I was trying not to hit someone who was in the crosswalk riding one of those motorized scooters, and he was indecisive. Should I go? Should I not go? It's like, well, you have the light, dude, and I cannot go through the intersection until you make a decision because he was off the curb and in the crosswalk.
And was it he who administered the middle finger, which we will not be calling the runner?
It was the person behind me in a Tesla. Not that matters, but I felt like pointing that out.
Of course it was a Tesla.
And I guess he was, and I have an SUV, so I will chalk it up to he not being able to see what is directly in front of my car.
So you got a runner from behind?
Okay.
No.
I'm just curious. I wasn't even trying to make a joke.
No. Here's how it went. He's behind me. There is this scooter guy who's in the crosswalk. I'm downtown on Surface Streets at this point. I'm getting ready to make a left, I think, on Cesar Chavez. I want to make a left, and there's like a line of cars behind me. I was the first car at the light.
Oh, okay.
I have to stop 2/3 of the way through the intersection as I'm making this left because this idiot is barreling down the hill and into the intersection. Me, being the defensive driver, said, I know he's just going to go straight to the intersection. Yes, he does have the light, but he's not walking across the street. He is barreling through the intersection in the crosswalk. So I am trying to anticipate what he's going to do, and he did exactly as I thought he was going to do. He came screaming into the intersection, and then he almost wanted to put on the brakes like, I don't know if I was going to make the light in time. So he stops about maybe 10 feet in the intersection, pretty much directly in front of my car.
To check his phone, too?
No, he wasn't checking his phone. No. He just seemed very confused. It was a young guy, I want to say maybe in his early 20s. So I put on my brakes because I could see what was getting ready to happen. This Tesla behind me is honking the horn, clearly could not see. I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt and saying that he could not see what was directly in front of my car.
Well, wait, was it somebody in a Cybertruck or a regular Tesla?
No, it's a regular Tesla. It was one of those, I think it was a 2-door sedan. I don't know.
SUV ones?
Yeah, No. It was a car. It was a car.
Oh, okay.
So he had a lower profile. That's what I mean. I don't think he could have seen in front of me.
Oh, okay.
He gets mad. He swings out to the left of me, and I'm scared that he's going to hit the guy on the scooter because he doesn't see him. But he pulls up almost like right alongside me, and the scooter guy's still in front of me, and he gives me the runner, and I just point in front. And I'm pointing in front. It's like, don't you see this motherfucker right in front of me?
Jeez.
You want me to go through the intersection and just run him over? Now, I guess the people who were like 5 or 6 cars behind me, depending on their angle, could see him, but the car right behind me couldn't.
Because it was far enough back that they could see the angle,
could see
but he was too close. Okay.
I'm trying to be nice to him, but he was being an a-hole to me. So he decided to, and the Teslas, they have this like launch mode. So after he saw the skateboard guy, the scooter guy go in front of me, then he wants to, like, that sound like that little toy car.
Yeah, they're rockets.
Yeah, and it just shoots off after giving me the rod. Like I was going to chase him or, road rage with them. He seemed like he was like 28, 29 or something. I was like, look, 15, 20 years ago.
That was you.
That was me. That was me. And I would have caught up to him at some point and told him to pull over.
Really?
That time is behind me, Mark. It is. It is.
So giving somebody the finger is grounds to get out of the car and start a brawl?
I'm saying 20 years ago, yeah, if someone had given me the finger and then tried to speed off as if...
Excuse me, Ronner?
Yes.
That's no.
Yeah. Yes. And then sped off as if that was going to save the person. Yeah, I would have chased him down. That's just who I was.
It's nonviolent, the finger.
It is, but people sometimes do things from the safety of their car thinking that there aren't consequences. And back in the day,
yeah,
I was very hot-headed.
Why not just give him one right back?
Because he sped off, remember?
Yeah.
Well, you're slow on the draw. This is on you.
No.
It's kind of like the last thing that's left behind keyboard warriors.
Yeah. It's
you know.
And a lot of times people will say stuff, they'll make gestures thinking that it doesn't go beyond that. Now, I'm at a time in my life where I know that someone can start shooting in a heartbeat, and I'm not trying to catch a bullet because someone else is having a really, really bad day. I have trained myself to not react to stuff that other people do.
You're practically a Shaolin monk.
I'm trying to be an adult in my old age. I'm trying to be better. One, it helps for my general overall well-being that I'm not raging and yelling at people when I'm just driving to work. And also it's like, to what end? What do I get out of it? I just, I don't even try to stare down people anymore. I was good for a stare down.
Not even a little head shake?
No.
I'm very disappointed
in you. Someone who's driving crazy or driving real slow, I'm the one who pull up alongside of you and you lean forward so you can see him in the car next to you. And it's still like, you're looking like, what the F are you doing? Because you're leaning real forward to make it known that you're staring at them in the other car. I was that dude.
What about the two-handed what the F gesture? Like throwing both hands in the air?
No, I would do that too, but I don't do that anymore. I don't respond anyway anymore. I mean, if anything, it's almost like a personal face. I'm thinking like myself, like, what the F's this guy doing? But I'm not gesturing. I'm not doing any of this. I'm not waving my hands. If you're on our YouTube simulcast, you can see what I'm doing. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not giving anyone the honor. I'm not doing nothing. I am not trying to instigate or escalate.
So you're just letting people walk all over you.
Yeah, I'm just getting soft in my old age.
Uh-huh.
Or
low T, maybe? Low T?
Or I value my life more than anything.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to be that person who, well, actually, let me back up. We always talk about the strange dreams that we have. One of my strange recurring dreams is I have been shot by some like 16 or 17-year-old. And it's not necessarily while driving. It's just that I know that young people usually have bad judgment. Yes, I'm generalizing, but it's true.
No, it is true, yes.
They have bad judgment, and they're more prone to react out of emotion and make life-changing decisions because someone disrespected them or someone made them mad, someone cut them off. And we see instances of this in the news, and I don't want to catch a bullet because of someone else's stupidity, not thinking past the moment.
And they do it at the drop of a hat.
At the drop of a hat. And I could be right as rain. That person could have legitimately cut me off. I can be justified in my anger. But then, since I flipped him off, then since I gestured to him, then since I, called him an MFer and he could read my lips, that younger person of less judgment, and Tuala said it best. He got into a verbal spat with the driver, and it was his daughter who calmed him down and talked him off the ledge, saying, basically paraphrasing, "Daddy, you're mad, but that person can be crazy." And I don't underestimate crazy.
So suddenly everybody's the truck driver in Duel.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. You know what? I would rather you call me every name. I would rather you think that I'm a punk. I'd rather you think that, you got the best of me and walked all over me, and then I just go about my day. I hope that's maturity. I hope.
Yeah, because you never know who's on who's driving that car.
You never know. And I'm thinking, like, what is it I win? What do I get out of it by honoring somebody?
Yeah.
What do I get?
You're doing a public service.
Okay, but at what cost? I know you're playing both sides here, Mark.
Never. I would never do that.
You understand where I'm coming from, and I think it would be, I think it would be reckless on my part and irresponsible for me to recommend otherwise for anyone else.
I see.
That's
well,
fair.
I mean, how can I talk about safety like don't stop at a gas station tonight, but go ahead and flip off someone and risk getting shot? No, that's not who I am. I have to have some degree of consistency. You know, we always talk about how can we better protect ourselves? How can we be safer in a time in which there is a concern about crime, be it on the metro, or be it where we live, be it on our jobs, like mass shootings, whatever. We always have to think about what we do, where we are, where we go, which either increases or decreases our level of safety. That's all I'm saying. And the things that I can control by doing or not doing, yeah, I'm going to do that or not do that.
Get a paintball gun.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, and the iHeartRadio app. Mark, how are you feeling today? You disclosed some information.
Do I sound a little loopy? I think I'm fine. I had a dentist appointment right before work, but I am 100% normal now. Thank you.
Did they put you out or just shoot you up?
Further deponent saith not. Let's do the news.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640 is Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, and the iHeartRadio app. Last segment, I was talking about basically trying to get to work today and how there was this Tesla behind me, then rolled up beside me, wanted to road rage because I didn't want to hit the person who was a pedestrian, if you will, riding one of those scooters in the sidewalk. And then we got sidebarred into this discussion about road rage more generally. Mark Ronner, the instigator that he is, he was trying to egg me on, no pun intended. I say no pun intended because Carnisha in the YouTube chat made it very clear that she, I guess long ago, I don't think she does it now, but would keep eggs in the car to throw at people.
Oh, I like that.
Are you serious?
Serious. She put it in the chat. She said it. She said it. It's a true thing. Now, we have Carnisha, just in case you haven't seen her. She is up on the YouTube stream, and I don't necessarily think that's a good driving let's say,
behavior.
Yeah, behavior. That's a good way to put it. I don't want to dwell too much on it. It's just not something I would advise.
Some people need their car eggs so they can learn a lesson.
You do know that if you throw an egg, a bullet might come back. Okay, you may throw an egg.
I'm gonna be gone by then. And you still gonna have egg on your car.
I understand. There are people who will cut you off, people who will make you mad. But the moment you start lobbing projectiles from your car, you're taking it somewhere else. And we're talking about this against the backdrop of Memorial Day weekend. And we were saying that people were going to be driving on average some 50 miles. Some 3.6 million residents will be driving 50 miles or more. And you might catch an egg.
Okay. I gotta mention. So we have a Ronner, and Eric Lasardo just said, throwing an egg, that's a Carnisha.
It's going to be so inside baseball. People are not going to know what is going on with this show. Look, I was going to work, and then someone threw me a Ronner, and then I threw back a Carnisha. The next thing you knew, we were fighting.
No, that's brilliant. The only problem with it at all is that eggs are so expensive right now. We need eggs to come down in cost.
I'm quite sure you can find a use for eggs,
What's the cheapest throwing eggs I can find at a store?
I don't know. I don't look at the price of eggs because I don't eat too many eggs really anymore, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying don't throw them. It's not about the price of the eggs. It's just
don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Oh, no, I think it's a brilliant idea.
Carnisha.
Yeah.
It's better than tailgating.
Oh,
no.
I mean, would you rather me ride your tail or would you rather a scrambled egg on your car?
Yeah, take your punishment. Get the egg.
Because you're not getting away.
How about neither for the safety of all involved? How about not escalating or instigating. I say that just out of Smokey Bear tips for safety. Only you can prevent road rage. Oh, and by the way, road rage, we did a poll in the YouTube chat about how many of you, succumb to road rage. You guys are lying. You should be 100% of you admit to some level of road rage.
Well, what counts, though? I mean, giving the finger doesn't count.
See, that's my point. That's my point. People don't think whatever they're doing is road rage.
It's got to be some physical form of aggression.
Doesn't it? Some people think unless you try to run the guy off the road that you're not, participating in any type of road rage event. I think personally, if you are expressing anger to the driver, you are on the other side of road rage. If you're expressing anger, if you're shaking your finger at the other driver, if you're egging the driver, if you're honoring the driver, in other words, if you're gesturing to the driver, you are escalating that interaction in the moment. There are people right now listening in their cars on AM 640 or the iHeartRadio app, and they're mad at the person next to them right now. And this is going to save somebody's life.
I think they're mad at you for trying to inflate a simple nonviolent action and call it road rage. You get out of the car, yeah, that's road rage. You pull a Tuwala, get something out of your trunk and go after the other guy. Definite road rage. But just applying a fairly polite and instructional middle finger, that's not road rage.
Okay, I can't tell if you're being serious or not, because according to your definition, I could roll down my window, stare down the driver next to me, like I used to do, with leaning forward, like make sure they could see my eye contact, and then
give them a runner, and call them every name in the book, talk about their mother, their children. But according to you, that's not road rage.
Talk about their ancestors, do whatever you want. Unless you get physically violent, that's not road rage.
Oh, okay, dude, you're wrong. I can't formulate some sophisticated argument. You are acting out in rage.
Actually, I have a response for you that I'm trying to keep
you try to give me a runner now.
I was thinking about it, yeah. But
my goodness.
Like how you're turning up the volume on the stereo, where you start with it upside down and then turn it to the upright position.
Yeah.
I think you deserve one of those, but no physical violence, because that would be rage.
I would think that anything you do which escalates the situation is you are trending towards road rage. You are participating in an act that has nothing to do with driving, and you are trying to instigate some sort of response from the other driver.
Shaking your head at the other driver, road rage is doing the two-handed. What are you doing? Is that road rage?
Both hands? Absolutely. If you're doing it to the person to get their attention, like for example, if someone cuts in front of you, I think it's a natural response to like throw up your arms and say, hey, dude, you just cut me off.
Right.
But if you try to drive up alongside him and throw up your arms and gesture to him or her, that is an escalation.
Adding an egg might be escalation.
Oh, no, I agree. Now, Tuwala Sharp, who knows a little something about road raging, is going to give his input.
Look, I've listened to all of this wisdom being spat about road rage. And I have, at one point in time, I have cut people off, preventing them from driving forward, getting out. I've kicked windows. I've punched windows.
That counts.
I have pulled items out of my trunk.
Items, plural.
Yes, I have. I absolutely have. Until the day, out of the mouth of babes, my daughter said to me, Daddy, you are just angry.
Told you.
What if they are crazy?
Told you.
What if you get shot? What happens to me sitting in the backseat of this car? What if you go to jail? What happens to me sitting in the backseat of this car? I hand to God. Since then, I have kept all of my rage inside. I haven't even given anyone a runner, a dirty look, nothing. Because I think about that moment. My job is to get home, get up in the morning, keep on living for my children. And that's why that's what changed me from road rage. I hope, Mark, one day you encounter something, some form of joy that makes you want to live, that you keep that runner holstered. Both of them.
I'm stopping at the store on the way home for eggs.
No mas runners.
You went from runner to carnitas.
I know. It almost sounds like a food dish. Would you like some carnitas?
Yeah,
on top of your runner?
I think that carne asada lady's got a point here.
It's later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. Live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. Yes, you earned that one. When we come back, we have to talk about what Mayor Bass is trying to do to keep jobs in Hollywood. Will she be successful? We'll find out.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, it's Later with Mo Kelly, live everywhere, the iHeartRadio app. And we're also live on YouTube. And Sir William Wallace 13 on YouTube in the Motown chat says, is Mo going to say Bass is doing too little too late in regard to this next story about LA Mayor Karen Bass, who's issued an executive order to keep jobs in Hollywood? No, don't try to predict what I'm going to say, unless it's like Weibo or something where it's always been very clear where I stood. You're going to be wrong most times when you're trying to predict how I'm going to come out on an issue. And I would say, if anything, what LA Mayor Karen Bass is doing is trying to distract and have you talk about other things than what most people would have a reason to discuss. In other words, if you're going to talk about Mayor Bass, you'll probably talk about the response to the fires. You'll probably talk about maybe the recall effort against her. You'll probably talk about the $1 billion shortfall for the city of Los Angeles. Those aren't the things that Mayor Bass or her advisors would want media to talk about. So when she has this executive order, which is going to supposedly help keep jobs here in Los Angeles relating to the film industry, I would say I'm not in any way confused. You're putting this out there to change the discussion. What this executive order is to remove some of the red tape so would-be filmmakers and movie studios would be more inclined to film in the city of Los Angeles, having more access to landmarks, having access to parks or very recognizable scenery. Not all that many major studio productions need to use LA landmarks. A lot of it is already in public domain. I'm just being very serious. So to answer you, Sir William Wallace 13, no, I would highlight that this is a distraction to change the subject, not whether this is going to be effective or not. I don't think it's going to have much impact on anything, honestly.
LA did not make it easy for us to shoot our movie.
Meet Austin James Wolfe.
You want to see the equation?
He wrote, produced, and starred in this film and was committed to shoot here in Los Angeles, his adopted hometown. But it wasn't easy.
Oh, you also have to pay a park monitor fee. You also have to pay a notification fee. And you also have to pay a film use fee. And I said, well, what about all the fees I just paid? They're like, oh, yeah, that was just the application. That was just for the right to film here. Now, if you actually want to film here, you have to pay these fees in 24 hours or we're going to take away your permit.
And so I will be signing a new executive directive that will make it far easier to film in Los Angeles. Movies, television shows, and commercials.
LA's Mayor Karen Bass announced her plan to increase Hollywood productions here. But so far, Wolfe is not impressed.
Her new proposals, I'll be honest, they sound like a lot of lip service to me.
The mayor's directive would streamline processes to film around the greater Los Angeles area and lower fees. She also wants to increase access to iconic sites in LA, like the Port. Wolfe has an example of what he encountered when he wanted to film in an LA library. The city required he hire cops for an 8-hour shoot.
They would have been paid $75 an hour.
How many productions need to film in the LA library? Let's be honest. 2? 1?
The city required he hire cops for an 8-hour shoot.
They would have been paid $75 an hour, which I don't get paid that much at my job. And I'm very happy that they get paid that amount. But it just became unfeasible for our indie film.
Instead, he used a library in Simi Valley.
And then there's that. You know, okay, so you don't do it in the city of LA. Do you know how often they use other cities posing as Los Angeles or other cities posing as different American cities? Like, for example, the show Suits that everyone loved, which was on originally the USA Network and then was brought back to life on Netflix, that's supposedly set in New York. They shot that whole series in Toronto. You know, you don't need to actually be in a city. So that takes me back to what I'm saying about Karen Bass. She can sign this executive order, but it doesn't really change anything. It's not about what Sir William Wallace suggested. I was going to say it was doing too little, too late. No, it doesn't really address the problem at all. And it's not really a problem that can be solved by executive action. And honestly, since it doesn't really do anything, it's about changing the subject. It's about being able to have a press conference and say, this is what I'm doing to help stimulate film and television production in the city of Los Angeles. Will it actually do anything? That's not the point. But at least you're not talking about me and the fires. At least you're not talking about me and a recall effort. At least you're not talking about me and this $1 billion shortfall and how the city doesn't have any money. Because let's talk about this on a more granular level. Let's say you get some nickels and dimes from new productions here in Los Angeles. That's just going to cancel out the fees that they were already charging. They were bringing in thousands and thousands of dollars each time someone wanted to film here. So, okay, so you take out some of the fees and you have different movie and television productions. You're just kind of like moving money around. You're not making a real discernible difference as far as money, which is going to come in and help the city of Los Angeles. That's the real discussion I think people should be having. It's not about too little, too late. Does it matter? And it also, does it distract from the more important issues surrounding the mayor right about now? And I don't think it does much of anything. And I'm sure as I'm sitting here that this is about more distraction than anything substantive. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640, live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app, YouTube, and Instagram. And when we come back to finish out this hour, we have to tell you about this drone and the Alhambra PD and how the drone is helping the police department get it done. But I don't know if I'm comfortable with how they got it done. That's next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, it's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And now I want to just have a personal conversation with you. This is not a legal conversation. I don't know where the law begins and ends per se. This is about your house. This is about your privacy. This is about what you perceive as your safety and what you're comfortable with. There was a story about a drone, how it helped Alhambra police recently arrest a suspect believed to be connected to a South American theft group. Here's what happened. The police drone, and there's video of this. You can see it right now on our YouTube simulcast. So you get a sense of what the drone was able to see. The drone spotted the suspects in a backyard, and it's in the middle of a very dense neighborhood, suburban neighborhood. And after the drone spotted the suspects, you could see one of them trying to remove a window screen and the other suspect pretending to water the grass. With the help of a drone operator to guide police to the scene, the officers set up a perimeter. When the suspects noticed the police, they ran away from the scene, jumping fences, and they were eventually caught, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. But if you see this footage, you can see how they can look into everyone's backyard. They see everything that's going on. And my question is, and this is more theoretical because I don't know where the law begins and ends. Is your backyard part of your privacy? In other words, the police can't just walk into your house because they think someone is in your neighborhood, right? I'm pretty sure they can't. I know there is such a thing as exigent circumstances, but if they don't know that someone is in your house, they just can't walk in it. In this instance, I feel, again, this is not factual. This is not even legal. I feel as if they had the opportunity or they had the ability to walk in everybody's backyard to see what was in everyone's backyard to find these guys. I'm glad that they caught them. Let me be absolutely clear. And you got to see the video to fully understand where I'm coming from. At Mr. Mo Kelly on YouTube. But I wonder how I would feel knowing that the police could look in everyone's backyard at any time for just about any reason. And I know someone always says, well, if you're not doing anything illegal, what do you have to worry about? Well, I'm not hiding anything in my behind. It doesn't mean that I want to consent to a cavity search. One has nothing to do with the other. It's not about hiding personal criminality. It's about, are you comfortable with police having the ability to look in your backyard whenever they want? And I get it. It's not like they were there under false pretenses. They were actually looking for someone. But I think about this as someone just looking in my backyard. I don't know if I would be comfortable with that in a broader sense. And I tend to think of people viewing their backyard and everything that happens in their backyard as an extension of their house, as an extension of their privacy. And it's not about when something goes right that you shouldn't question it. You should also question it when it goes right. You should be willing to look at, hey, okay, not just this scenario, but what about other scenarios? And maybe I haven't found the right words to express it, to articulate it, but I don't know if I'm comfortable with the idea of drones just looking in my backyard. I don't know. I don't know. And again, I'm glad that they found them, but I talked about this before because we were trying to get our backyard redone and they're trying to get measurements, and now they'll send someone out to do an estimate. They'll use a drone, as far as landscaping your backyard. And I was thinking as the drone was hovering over my backyard, it's like, wow, they can see in my neighbor's yard, maybe someone's sunbathing, or maybe they're just, doing the privacy thing in their own home. You think if you have a 7 or 8 foot high wall, no one is looking in your backyard. And that's a reasonable, here's kind of the legality, the reasonable expectation of privacy. And people generally believe that when they're in their homes, including in their backyard, there's a reasonable expectation of privacy. And if you look at this video, and there are houses 2 blocks away having nothing to do with the would-be crime scene, and you get to see everything that's going on in their house. And I'm saying this, I don't know what the answer is. And the funny thing, ironic thing is, sometimes people think because you're on the radio, you're trying to present yourself as you have all the answers and you know everything. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I tell you what I believe, and I try to show you my math as far as how I came to this conclusion. But I would never profess to know it all or have all the answers. This is something that I have been wrestling with for a while. It's like you want the police to be able to do their jobs. You want them, if you call them, to be able to find the would-be criminals, the dangerous folks. And you don't want to hinder them. But also, you have to ask yourself the question, at what cost? What are you willing to accept? What are you comfortable with? If it weren't the use of this technology, would you be okay with the police just walking through your backyard, hopping over your fence and walking through your backyard and then hopping on the fence into the next backyard? Because ostensibly it's the same thing. They're looking for someone. I don't know, but that question is going to be wrestled with. That question is going to be answered. In other words, what are the outside boundaries? What is the upper limit of what police can do in a situation when they're just looking for someone and they don't know where that someone or someones are? If they thought that the suspects were in somebody's house, let's say not in the backyard, but in somebody's house, would you feel comfortable with the police just knocking on the door and just walking on in and looking? Because to me, it feels like if they have the ability to just look through your backyards, it's like looking through your house. Again, I don't know where the law begins and ends with castle doctrine and whether your backyard is considered your house and it has the same privacy expectations as the structured portion of your house. I'm just saying, for a moment, it felt real uncomfortable. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, and the iHeartRadio app.
You think we've got all the answers? Well, we've got news for you, Chief. No, seriously, we've got news right now.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere.